Are you watching this drum? This is not an ordinary drum. It held the darkest secret of someone's life, sealed for 2 years. Let's open it together. This drum had no name, no label. No one noticed it for nearly 2 years. It was just lying there, ignored, forgotten. Until one day, a worker walked close enough to catch a smell, and that's when this case began. The year was 2018. The place, Kumbalam, a quiet locality near Kochi, in the southern Indian state of Kerala. On January 8th, a group of workers was moving through a neglected, open plot of land near the Aurora-Idapali bypass. This land, partly marshy, partly used for dumping construction waste, was right next to the backwaters, an area often ignored. While clearing weeds and lifting debris, they noticed a large blue plastic drum lying near the bushes. It was heavy, it looked old. Its top was sealed with layers of black tape and iron wire. The workers didn't pay much attention until someone tried to push it. It wouldn't move. Then someone noticed a slow leak from the bottom corner. A thick, dark, oily fluid was seeping out. There was a strong, foul smell. A smell of something dead, something long decayed. The workers hesitated. One of them called the local police. Soon, officers from Merdu police station arrived on the scene. At first, the police thought it might be chemical waste or a dead animal dumped in concrete. But the smell and the weight, it didn't seem right. They brought in cutting equipment to open the drum safely. The officers had no idea what they were about to find. The cutting began. The outer tape was peeled away. The iron wires were carefully removed. When they opened the drum, they saw something they didn't expect. Concrete. The entire top portion of the drum was packed tight with fresh cement and broken bricks. Officers began removing the layers slowly. It was a careful process. As they went deeper, they found pieces of old cloth, soaked, stuck to the hardened cement. Then came a patch of matted hair. And then a bone. They stopped. The smell was now unbearable. An officer stepped back and quietly called for forensic support. Over the next hour, the team continued to dig. The outline of a human body was now visible, curled up, pressed into the cement. It was a female skeleton, naked from the waist up. The hands were folded and pressed into the chest. The legs were tied together with old rope. The body was pushed in headfirst, bent unnaturally to fit into the barrel. 2 years had passed. But the scene inside the drum was frozen in time. And at the bottom of the barrel, near the feet, they found something strange. 3 500 rupees 0 paise currency notes, discolored and decaying. No one understood why they were there. No one could speak. They didn't know her name yet. But her body told a silent story. Her bones showed she was a woman around 50 to 55 years old. Her left ankle had something unusual, a surgical steel screw still attached to the bone. Forensic experts would later say it was from a recent fracture, likely after a scooter accident followed by surgery. Her clothes were torn and incomplete. Only a blouse, damaged and stuck to the cement. There were no personal belongings. No bangles, no earrings, no ID, nothing. Her facial bones were broken. One side of the jaw was dislocated. There were cracks in her ribs. She had been tied, pushed, sealed, and left alone in that drum. At this point, no one knew her name. No one knew where she came from. No one knew why she was killed. And no one had even reported her missing. But there was one clue: a screw in her ankle. That small piece of metal, buried in her bones, was about to reveal who she was. And once her name came out, it would expose a story of betrayal, secrets, and a murder no one saw coming. Forensic experts traced the serial number on the screw. It had been manufactured in Pune, and supplied to a private hospital in Tripunithura, Kerala, police contacted the hospital and obtained surgical records. They narrowed it down to 6 patients who had undergone ankle surgery using that exact type of screw. 5 were alive. The 6th was missing. Her name was Shakunthala, a 54-year-old woman from Udayampur near Kochi. She had broken her leg in a scooter accident in September 2016 and was treated at the same hospital where the screw came from. She hadn't been seen since. No missing person report had been filed. But she had vanished quietly over a year earlier. Who was Shakunthala? Shakunthala was not famous. She had no wealth, no political power. She was just a mother, a widow living in a rented house, a woman who had seen more pain than most people should. Her family had once been complete, but over the years it broke piece by piece. She had a husband named Damodaran, who was once convicted in a political murder case and had spent time in prison. She had a son, Pramod, who had been in a major accident and later died by suicide. And she had a daughter, Aswathy, the daughter. Aswathy had lived a complicated life. She had been married twice, but both marriages had ended. She returned to her mother's house with her 2 small children. She and her mother shared a strained relationship, frequent arguments, especially about money. In the same neighborhood, there was a man named T.M. Sajith. He was a state SPCA inspector, a government employee working in animal welfare. He was also married with children, but that didn't stop him from getting close to Aswathy. And soon their affair began. The murder, who did it, and why. Shakunthala did not approve of the relationship. She found out that Sajith was married. She argued with Aswathy. She warned them to stop. And then she threatened something dangerous. She told Sajith that she would expose the affair to his wife, to the public, to the authorities. Sajith panicked. He couldn't afford a scandal. He had a job, a family, and a reputation. So he made a decision. He would silence Shakunthala. How it happened. According to the police, the murder happened in September 2016. Shakunthala was still recovering from her ankle surgery. At some point between September 19 and 24, while her daughter and grandchildren were not at home, Sajith entered the house. No one else was there. That's when he killed her. The method of murder is not confirmed publicly. But her body had signs of trauma, a dislocated jaw, broken bones, and ropes used to tie her. After killing her, Sajith began to cover it up. The disposal. He placed the body inside a large plastic barrel. He bound the body, poured concrete and bricks, and sealed it tightly. He then took the barrel to the backwaters of Kumbalam. He told the people helping him that the drum had animal bones inside for some kind of ritual or iridium collection. One of the helpers was an elephant contractor, and others were acquaintances who did not know the truth. On September 24, 2016, they dumped the drum into the backwaters. And it stayed there for almost 2 years. In a quiet corner of Kumbalam, a rusted blue drum had waited for 2 years. But what happened after that? Did the law deliver justice? Or did silence win? The body in the drum was discovered on January 8, 2018. On January 9th, just 1 day later, the prime accused in the case, Sajith, was found dead. He had died by suicide. Police found him at his house in Roar, near Tripunithura. The report confirmed that he had consumed cyanide, a rare and painful method. He left no suicide note, no confession, no explanation. With him, a major part of the truth died. But it also raised even more questions. Why would a man take his own life one day after a skeleton was found? What was he afraid of? To the police, it was confirmation that Sajith was guilty, but for the legal system, it created a dead end. The man who could have been prosecuted was no longer alive. With Sajith gone, police turned their attention to the people close to him, and to Shakunthala. Their focus landed on one person, Aswathy, Shakunthala's daughter. She had been in a relationship with Sajith, despite knowing he was married. Her phone records showed frequent communication with him before and after her mother's disappearance. Police began questioning her. According to investigators, her statements didn't match. There were contradictions in her version of the timeline. She claimed not to know anything, but officers suspected otherwise. She was living with her mother during the time of the murder. And after Shakunthala's disappearance, she never filed a missing person report. Not even once. Police believed she knew what had happened. And so they took the next step. Polygraph test petition. Police approached the Sessions Court in Ernakulam. They requested permission to conduct a lie detector test, polygraph, on Aswathy. She initially agreed, but later she refused to appear in court for the test. This refusal only deepened suspicion. Anticipatory bail plea. Aswathy then filed for anticipatory bail, afraid that police might arrest her. The court rejected her bail request. But even with that decision, police didn't arrest her. They claimed they didn't yet have enough direct evidence to press formal charges. Other suspects and witnesses. Police also interrogated the men who had helped Sajith dump the drum. One of them was an elephant contractor, another was a scrap dealer, and others were casual workers. They told the police that Sajith had lied to them, saying the drum contained animal bones, not a human body. They were not charged, since there was no proof that they knew the truth. Status of the case. With Sajith dead, Aswathy uncooperative, and no eyewitnesses, the case entered a gray zone. No official murder trial ever began. No one was formally arrested, and even after all the evidence, the case remains legally unresolved. The file is still open, but no closure has been reached in court. In the end, a woman was murdered, sealed into a drum, and dumped like garbage. Her killer took the truth to his grave. And the only person who might have known the full story walked away. This wasn't just about one murder. It was about a system that stopped moving once the accused died. But no justice, no trial, no closure. We often say that the dead can't speak, but in this case, it's the living who stayed silent. If this case shook you like it shook us, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story, because the truth must never stay sealed.